Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for a Beach Connections webinar. This, I think, is our third of our series of, I think we have 14 over the summer. So welcome to Beach Connections. If you have not met me already, I'm Nina Luxon. I am the program coordinator for new student and family programs. I work with parents and families throughout the summer, throughout the academic year. So you will see a lot of me. If you are watching this recording back, you will see my face in every single video. But we are really happy to have you all here with our TRIO team, who is going to be talking about supporting first generation students and the services that they have to support our incoming students. I know most of you are students that are coming in for the fall for the first time. So that's really awesome. If you've already attended one of our parent family orientation sessions, that's great. If you have not, at the very end, I will drop a link for how to register for parent orientation to get more information like this and other things that are helpful for your students succeeding. So we will start with a presentation from our TRIO team, and then at the very end of the presentation, we will open up the floor to Q&A. If you have any questions throughout today's presentation, please feel free at the very bottom. You should see a box that says Q&A. If you could submit your questions to that Q&A box, that way we can be sure to answer it either live if it's for the larger group, or we can also answer it by typing. So we'll be doing both. We'll be checking that box regularly. Maybe not the chat box as regularly, so we would suggest Q&A, but just if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And then if guests could please remain muted throughout today's presentation for the duration of the webinar, just to minimize distraction, that would be really helpful. But with that, I will hand it off to Myrna to start talking about all things TRIO. I will be here.
Thank you, Nina. My name is Mirna Cabrera. I'm one of the academic skills coaches for TRIO Student Support Services. And I'm going to explain a little bit about the programs that we have available for students and the resources that we have for the student population that we really specialize in. So let me go ahead and start sharing that presentation for you. And again, if you have questions, feel free to add in Q&A. We'll have some of my colleagues in the chat. I'll also answer some of those questions in case it does come up. You're more than welcome to ask there, and then we'll be answering some of those in the Q&A after as well, so we can get a more clear response. But you all should be able to see my screen on my end. So again, we are TRIO Student Support Services, and we actually have a couple of different programs within our office. So here's a brief breakdown of the programs that we do have. One being that first TRIO Student Support Services program. Essentially, this program is designated for students who are either considered first generation to college, and we'll explain a little bit more of what that means, or are considered low income. We'll also provide the guidelines to that. And then potentially a student that may have a documented disability. So students who meet one of those three criteria can be part of this TRIO Student Support Services program. We want to make sure that students succeed during their time here at Cal State Long Beach. So SSS really focuses on the student population and being able to support them holistically and continue to advocate for these students during their time here at Long Beach. Now, another program or one of our sister programs is within TRIO would be McNair. The McNair Scholars Program is essentially preparing undergraduate students for doctoral studies. So if they're interested in doing some research and other scholarly activities to pursue a PhD right after their undergraduate experience or after their bachelor's, they can do that, but they need the preparation. And usually this program is geared towards also first generation students and students who also fall under the criteria of needing additional financial assistance in order to get to these goals and increase the graduate degrees across our campus. Another program that we share the suite with would be our College Assistant Migrant Program. And this program is to assist students who are in migratory or seasonal farm work at any point in their lives. And we'll go a little bit more on the resources of what each program kind of consists of and what the eligibility is like. So we'll start with our College Assistant Migrant Program. We'll start with the breakdown of what does it mean to be considered low income? So for TRIO Student Support Services or for TRIO programs in general, there is a breakdown, a federal guideline of what is considered low income. Usually it's based off of the size of the family unit as well as income levels. If you do have more questions or wanted to get more information of what that looks like, you're more than welcome to scan that QR code, or you can just do a quick online search of the low income levels for federal TRIO programs. And this is somewhat of the breakdown that we have as effective of January 13th, 2026. So for example, if your household size is, consistent of 5 folks in the home, that income level for 48 states within California would be about 58,000 a year. So that's one of the criteria, at least for TRIO Student Support Services and McNair. All right, so now jumping into what the College Assistance Migrant Program does. So this again is a program that provides assistance to students that are interested in joining our Cal State Long Beach program here at Long Beach. Essentially, they help you with the application. So if your students, whether they're currently admitted already within the university or have not been admitted and are in high school and need support, that could be one of the processes that camp would be able to assist you with. Once they're in the program, they have different opportunities to receive scholarships, grants, in internship information, as well as academic advising. So let's say they took classes and not too sure about their schedule or wanted to get a better understanding of what their time frame looks like to graduate. They have a personalized academic advisor who could provide that information for them on the spot, as well as including a lot of information about their career, internships. All these different opportunities come in one-on-one support, but also through different workshops and tutoring referrals on campus. And so if you do have questions again about this College Assistant Migrant Program, you're more than welcome to add them to the Q&A chat, and we'll have someone kind of respond to you in those questions. The criteria for or eligibility for camp would be: 1, you continue to meet with your camp academic advisor at least 3 times per semester, completing your financial aid workshops through FAFSA, and then being able to assist different programming that happens within the camp program. So at least 2 camp talks per semester. This includes financial literacy information, and then attending any other mandatory meeting like retreat information or retreat sessions and orientations as well for both students. And now for the Ronald E. McNair Postbaccalaureate Achievement Program, the McNair program for short. This program, again, assists students in finding different research summer internship opportunities with stipends, securing admission to grad school. So what that application process might be lengthy. A lot of students aren't too sure how to apply or where to receive support from faculty members for letters of recommendation. McNair's staff is prepared to help you obtain, these different opportunities and is eventually pursue or apply into doctoral programs and even master's programs as well. So they prep you with research conferences, experience, graduate school visits. So a lot of the students take trips to visit campuses like UCLA, UC San Diego, Chicago. So all those different opportunities come free through the program of the Ronald E. McNair Achievement Program. And so in order to be eligible for McNair, because it is a fairly funded program, you do have to be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. You have to be enrolled with GPA of 3.0 or higher. And they do expect students to be in their junior and senior year, meaning they need to have completed at least 60 units in order to at least participate in McNair for 2 full or 1 full academic year, but hopefully 2 full years to get more research experience and be allotted the time to prepare for that doctoral program. Again, the low income federal guidelines provide a breakdown of what that looks like and what the eligibility can be. And you do have to be a first-gen student as well, meaning that your parents or guardians did not obtain a 4-year degree within the nation. Lastly, we want to make sure the student is also interested in pursuing and completing a PhD. We want to make sure that the student is applying once they're ready to graduate from undergrad. But we do have students who apply to both PhDs and master's program. But the intent is to help students pursue a doctoral degree. And so for one of the last programs that I'm going to mention, but I think a program that a lot of students may be interested and eligible for would be Student Support Services. And so this is also a federally funded program that's designed to help these students as long as they meet one of the 3 criterias. So they either have to be first generation, meaning again, their parents or guardians do not have an undergraduate degree, considered low income based off of those federal guidelines, or have a documented disability, meaning that if they're registered with BMAC, they could provide some of that documentation in order to prove that. And there's other ways to provide information in order to receive resources and be part of the TRIO program. And so for a program and what it looks like, it looks very similar to many of the support services that I kind of mentioned, but it's a little bit more tailored to the student population. So we do have academic advising. If they need help applying for scholarships, we can do that as well with the students. And then we have different financial and economic literacy resources. So we have investors, people from banks, and these experts in financial literacy to be able to provide that information about budgeting, one, or if students are interested in kind of investing or what that looks like, stocks and bonds. Those are the type of questions that can be answered through like workshop opportunities and resources that we provide students. Now for our program, we want to make sure that students are also prepared after their time here at Long Beach. So if they are considering graduate school or are jumping right into the workforce, whether it is straight to being a business owner, we want to make sure they're also prepared for that. So what are we doing, whether it is prepping up resumes, getting more experience, or applying to these graduate schools, whether it's in-state or out-of-state graduate programs. What does that look like? What do we take into consideration? Those are different normal conversations that we have, but we also have workshops where students can join and build community with other students as well, to get a better sense of what it's like to be a college student. And so something else that I wanted to mention is because a lot of our programs are considered federally funded programs, so TRIO Student Support Services is one of those programs. It is required that if the student who is applying into the program is under the age of 25, they do have to include a parent signature or legal guardian signature because they are providing some of that information to the federal government. So a lot of the applications online are going to be asking questions, especially ones with the asterisk at the end, will require, a response. If the student's not too sure, they're more than welcome to ask parents, guardians for that information. It doesn't have to be an exact number, but it has to be a really close estimate to what that looks like for the household. And then the parent or legal guardian must sign and submit the application once that signature is in. If for whatever reason the student or you all parents and guardians prefer a hard copy application, you're more than welcome to even send your students over for a hard copy, print out the copy. We can send a PDF to you all and you can include your email, letting us know that you're interested in printing out a copy. We can do that as well, but the application is available online. There's hard copies in our office and a PDF can also be sent and can be printed at home. So we'll have that information for you all as well. And so again, eligibility, because it's a federally funded program, you do have to be a US citizen or a permanent resident. You do have to be either considered low income based off of those federal guidelines, a first generation college student, or have a documented disability. And you must be enrolled as an undergraduate student here at Cal State Long Beach. One of the reasons we don't have students from one of our programs or sister programs we would like to mention is EOP, because it's a very similar program in providing resources to students that are basically like a one-stop shop. So they also do academic advising, workshops about grad school, career prep. So students have more access to different resources. Students from EOP are usually not admitted into TRIO Student Support Services. The only and biggest difference is that EOP, it is a state funded program. While you do have to apply to EOP when you apply to the university, a lot of students miss that opportunity. And then they hear later on about TRIO Student Support Services, and it is a similar program, but they have more of a leeway in applying once they're admitted or later on in the year if we are taking students. Currently, we're admitting as many students as we can. We don't have a specific deadline as of now, but we are encouraging students to do so and apply as soon as possible because we can reach that maximum capacity, and the resources wouldn't be available to those students who are not within the application pool, the allotted application pool number. So now we will move on to our Q&A session. I also included our emails for every program that I mentioned. So one, the College Assistant Migrant Program, that is their general email. If you do have specific questions for them, or you know that your student is in the program and you wanted to check in, you're more than welcome to do so. McNair's email is well included, and then Student Support Services. So I'll jump into the Q&A and stop sharing my screen in case you all have specific questions. Let's pull that up. See any questions on my end?
There is one question in the chat or in the Q&A, and it says, "Is the income portion required even if submitting under first gen only?"
Yes, for the online application, it is required. We can do some of like investigative work on our own, trying to get some of that information, but usually the online application in order to move forward is one of those asterisk questions that needs to include income. If it were for whatever reason the family can't provide it, we can definitely have the student work with our admin team. Our assistant director is also on the call if they want to include their email and email us separately. We can definitely see what we can do about it. But usually for the online application, it is required in order to submit the actual application itself.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? I see we have one in the chat. If accepted into a program, what is the next step? Does the program reach out to a student, or does the student have to reach out? So once the student does apply to our program, we have a time period of about 2 weeks for us to respond and get back to your student whether or not they were admitted into a program. And if they are accepted into the program, they do have to attend an orientation. And it's not like our general orientation. I know students come to campus and have a full day of events. Our orientation usually is 30 minutes and it is online. So the student just reviews what the program is about, what are the requirements to continue participating and being active in our program. And they're basically in. So it shouldn't be a lengthy process. It takes us some time to review all the applications and then reach out to the students with orientation dates. But it should be about a 2-week time frame at least. Any other questions?
The person from earlier just said that they'll have their student reapply. They have not received acceptance yet.
Okay. And the student is also more than welcome to email that general sssp@csulb.edu email with, hey, like, what's the update? It might have been that within the time frame or the short period that we received the application, something kind of fell through. So we can definitely look into it again and reach out to the student directly.
Awesome. I received a question. It says, "What documentation is required to qualify through disability eligibility?"
So one, it depends on your participation with our campus program. So if the student is already registered with our Bob Murphy Access Center, we call it BMAC for short, we're able to receive some of that information from the BMAC office with either their letter of eligibility for the program. They share a copy of that. I know some parents have shared it, family members have shared their IP forms of their students. So students provide like a copy of that. They're like, hey, I'm not in BMAC here for whatever reason, I don't want to participate or the process hasn't happened. They can provide that information. So it just really depends on what you all want to provide. You would work with our admin team to demonstrate eligibility for that. And we'll let you know how that works out individually if it's a case by case situation. You see another question in the chat. How can a student confirm their application status with SSS? And if anything else is needed. So we do have our admin team reach out to the students if anything else is needed. Again, that 2-week time period, they don't hear back from us. Feel free to reach out to us. either phone call, we're open Monday to Friday from 8 to 5, or email us letting us know like, hey, I submitted state, is there something missing? I have seen a lot of students that, and I'm not saying this is your student case, but a lot of students miss our email and it might have gone to spam or whatever. And they're missing maybe a small portion of the application or a signature, or they didn't check off something. So we usually email them back within the 2 weeks and letting them know like, hey, you missed putting in your household income size, or you put the wrong number, or they're all zeros. So we reach out to a student within those 2 weeks to let them know. Any other questions? I will say this, because it requires a parent signature, and I know a lot of parents want to get more information about how to continue receiving resources or connecting with their students, and their faculty and staff on campus. Um, because they are considered, and you probably heard this before, because they're considered adults or they're managing like finances and things on their own, because a lot of that information is protected under FERPA. Sometimes you might be reaching out about specific information to certain departments and you might not receive information, but there are ways to fill out online forms with your child or your college student, or that person that you have in college, to allow you to get some access to information, whether it is financial information. So it would be a matter of signing a FERPA waiver if you want to search that information up to get more information, or continue connecting about ways to support your student. Then those students are young, are sure about the resources. Um, if you do have specific questions or general questions you want to reach out, we'll try to guide you all as best as possible with the information we can provide for you all. And for as well. I think Nina is also recording this call. So if for whatever reason the information is not being transmitted or you can't hear me, hopefully we can get a recorded session to you on. It's going to be available on YouTube and you can rewatch the session with more hopefully clear quality of audio or information on there. And I'll be providing the PDF too of the presentation if necessary.
Yeah, thank you for that, folks. It's on our end, it sounds clear. So hopefully on the YouTube recording, it'll also be clear as well.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anything else that I can help respond? Thank you, Stephanie.
If anybody wants to unmute and ask a question, you can feel free to do so. This is the time. No?
I'm sorry. I missed the part where you were talking about how to apply online or
Yes.
aside from the hard copy.
Yeah, so there is an online application. If you visit our website, and I can add it on the chat as well. You fill out the online portion. It can be all submitted electronically, so you don't necessarily have to come in person or email us. It can just be completed through this link. So I'll add it to the chat. Again, it does require your student signature and your parent signature if your student is under the age of 25. But here is the link where you can complete the application itself, and then hopefully you can submit that and hear back within the next 2 weeks. Thank you for the question, Marisela. Alrighty, I think.
Sorry, I was muted. I was going to say last call for questions, folks. Does anybody have any other questions? If not, we can go ahead and move forward. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mira, for coming and talking with everybody about TRIO support, student support services, and then all the resources that are available. And thank you for all of our parents and families who are jumping on to listen to this information. Supporting your student is really a great place to begin, and you guys attending these webinars is a great place to start supporting your students. So thank you so much for doing that. I am putting a few different links in the chat. The first one is to parent and family orientation. If you have not attended parent and family orientation or are still questioning whether you want to, please sign up for parent orientation. It is very helpful in helping your student navigate this first year, and also all their 4 years here at Cal State Long Beach. The second link is to our Beach Family newsletter. This is the primary way that we communicate with all of our parents and families. So please sign up for the newsletter completely free of charge, and it comes every 2 weeks. And that's probably where you all saw a lot of these Beach Connection sessions or on our website, but sign up for the newsletter. And then lastly, to access this presentation, this recording will be available on our CSULB Parent and Family YouTube page tomorrow. So you'll be able to access this presentation recording tomorrow as well. But thank you so much, Mira, for coming on and talking, and for all of our other TRIO staff. And until next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a good night.